Hello, this is your host Akhil Navluri, and welcome to the brand new episode of the Techospace podcast series. In this podcast episode, I'm super thrilled and honored to welcome one of the most eminent and prominent industry leaders pertaining to the IT industry, Mr. Artem Smirnov, who happens to be the head of management reporting and data transparency at the company Russia Post. And along with that, he is even the strategy and development team lead at MTS Group company as well. And he's based out of Moscow, Russia. Artem, it just gives me an absolute pleasure to welcome you to this podcast initiative of mine. So, Artem, how are you doing? And would you like to summarize how is the situation, or let's say the weather in Moscow right now?
Oh, it's a pleasure to be part of your podcast. I just saw different episodes before and I see very interesting people inside that. So I'm very happy to be part of your story. Thank you very much for inviting me. The weather in Moscow is a bit rainy this week. We had some hot days, maybe a week or two ago. It was plus 30, 35, so it was really hot. And so we spent a lot of days under air conditioner, but now it's not so hot, maybe 26,
Okay.
25. So
Hmm.
if you'd like, you can go outdoor and walk with pleasure. So it's quite nice. I like this.
Amazing. That's good. I mean, we are waiting for the summer in Australia because right now we are having the winter feel. So I mean, we just have more 2 months for the summer to come about. So
Yeah, good, nice.
that's amazing, Artem. So Artem, at the stroke of this hour, which is 7:03 p.m. Melbourne time, let's kick off with the podcast episode. All right, all right, Artem. So firstly, Artem, let's talk about your journey in the IT industry.
Oh, my journey to IT industry is something but not straightforward. I graduated as psychologist, especially in neuroscience, and my first job was advice career for the career steps, which university to graduate for pupils who just graduated school. And maybe the first touch with IT was because of the program was automatically, and students had to answer different questions. And depending on that, I then interpret the answers and delivered some insights for parents and boys and girls.
Oh, that's interesting.
But after that, yes, but after that, I started my long career marathon in MTS. It's Russian one of leading telco providers.
All
And
right.
while onboarding education, we had a session about sales. And once our coach asked us, "What do you think sales about?" And there were different answers, like to gain revenues, to hit some sales targets. And he interrupted and he said, "Okay, yes, you all are right, but the most important is to make people who go inside the shop happy and to make them live this day in happiness and maybe go further and live all their life with happiness." And
All right.
these words inspired me a lot, and it became something like the hallmark of my career. And I went through different steps as salesperson, as manager in sales store, financial analyst, strategist in assurance department. And I came to this conclusion that data is very important to make people happy, to help them get answers to their questions. And after that, I came that IT is a quite interesting place where I'm now, where you
Yeah.
not just answer questions and to get answers from data, but you have opportunity to help other people answer questions and get their answers through creating different reports, through creating different data marts, and through just understanding how data is going on inside company and transforms into some value which you can investigate uh, and creates and adds new value through understanding how things are going on.
That's brilliant, Artem. That's a pretty good journey in the IT industry. Now, Artem, you just told a point that you had a background in neuroscience. So, having a background in neuroscience, what inclinated? I mean, let's say, what led gave you that inclination to move towards the IT industry?
We were very intensively used IT technologies because you had to register different indicators and make analytics. It maybe was not SQL, but
Right.
there were quite sophisticated mathematical approaches just to understand what's behind the signal you register and how you can explain the behavior of a man or the perception. Uh, it's not as far as man can think that psychology or neuroscience and IT they're connected. Maybe. Um, yes, and it was my point of interest too, and something that made me to choose between different branches in psychology.
That's amazing, Artem. Now, Artem, now like heading on for the next one, I just wanted to understand this. Like, can you share me about your tenure of being the head of management reporting and data transparency at the company Russia Post? Like, what's your view on that?
I was invited to Russian Post about 3 years ago by the moment. And Russian Post, it's quite complicated business because you can think about that it's just parcels, letters, and some logistics to deliver it from point A to point B. But it's not so easy because Russian Post is
Yeah.
retail store. It is financial store. You can
Okay.
send money and you can receive money. There is e-commerce because we are highly interacted with our e-com providers, and a lot of different other social services, some pensions and so on. And all these businesses are inside one company. While they have very different value chains, the points when you interact with the customer and the path how money are generated and what systems are used to do that. So when I came to Post, my role was to rethink how we analyze the revenue generation, how we analyze the flow of the units, yes, which we sell and receive for our customers, and to make it separately for different line of business at first, but as a second step to combine them together to give management, C-level management, opportunity to see the whole picture and to highlight some problems which maybe exist in different lines. And with that, have the opportunity to deep dive into details,
Right.
depending on the speciality of each line of business. So that was the point, and that was not how was the journey. At first, we spoke. I and my team and I spoke with business guys, and we understood how business is working, what are their market, how they lead to their customers, how they make sales, how they generate revenues, and how they collect that, and how they show it in financial reporting. After
Right.
that, we went to IT maintenance guys to understand what systems support all these processes, which type of data do they generate. And after that, having all this information to rethink it, how to build some transparent data marts, data lake, which can help you to analyze this data to make it compatible within different steps of business and within different business lines of business. And
Right.
after that, having this transparent data lake to create reports, to create data marts, and to show it as a weekly reporting to management and to give some special domain analysts opportunity to go to Mars and to make their ad hoc analytics.
Amazing, amazing, Artem. Now, Artem, I just wanted to understand this. Like, do you think that without the use of data lakes and the methodology of data lakes, would you think that the work that you're doing, would it be complex, or do you think it would have been much more simpler had the data lakes not been introduced here?
Uh, Data lakes, uh, when you start, it's always hard because you have a data mess, really. And there are two problems. The first is the problem in data itself, because you have to reorder. It's something like a puzzle when you
Hmm.
create some transparent picture, and each step helps you to go further.
Right.
But the second point is you need to speak with people who use this data, who generate this data, to get them on the same page. So to make them believe that they can speak the same language, and despite of they can have different data, and it's quite okay. There are some points which can help you. It's something like the wisdom of man and the elephant. Yes, they
Okay.
they see the same elephant, and if you help, that's when psychology helps, really. uh,
Yeah.
when you go to the point when people start to believe, yes, they speak about the same story, maybe in different languages, it really works, and it becomes much simpler with data lakes. So
That's good to hear. Probably that's a very good insight for me. And since I'm a data science student myself, so I think I will also, give my hands on data lakes pretty soon.
uh, yeah, but data lake itself, if you have discipline and uh, uh, you document different domains and you understand each step which you do, it really helps. And the second point, which is really important, that you need to start from a blueprint. What is the target you want to go? And that's why we started with value chains, because uh, there can be very different data. Maybe it is wrong generated and you need just to substitute some IT sources because they are inefficient, and or they are not maintained properly. Maybe you do not have enough logs which can be used. But if you know what you want, or what usually is to ask about the business, about the flow of value, it really helps.
That's amazing, Artem. Now, Artem, heading on for your next, let's say, next gig, which is the about the MTS Group. I wanted to understand, like, what are your roles and responsibilities of being, the let's say the strategy and the development team lead at the company which I just mentioned, the MTS Group.
Yes, MTS, it was very interesting journey, especially on your role, which you mentioned. Just a little disclaimer, what was all this about? There are
Okay.
four key assurance practices, or maybe not just assurance, but four key practices in telecom.
All
First
right.
is revenue assurance. It means that there are the dedicated team of people who make some special controls, compared data from different sources, to be sure that there is no revenue leakage or some missed opportunities uh, uh, in terms of profits or values, or maybe some external losses. Uh, and that is very experienced domain usually, because of and the set of different practices which are used. The second domain is fraud management. There are also specially dedicated team of people who monitor third-party activities which can exploit vulnerabilities or use some special techniques to steal money from company and from customers. And so the main goal of this team is to prevent this, or if it happens, to minimize outcomes. The
All right.
sort of practice is collection, because sometimes it's happened that people use services but don't want to pay money, and we need someone who's some sort of tough guys who go to them and ask them to pay money. And there are different strategies how to do that. There can be a soft approach or hard approach, so it's depending on does it make some sense to do that? And there are some different kinds, domains of customers, and you need to use different source of communications to do that. For example, someone will read SMS or push notification, and it's okay for them. Another one wants to had a call or a letter, or
Right.
be charged by judges, and so on. And the
Right.
fourth, the last but not the least, domain is settlements with partners, because telecom business is not just selling data or selling calls, but there are some partners, and you make some combined services. And the question is that you need to charge, not to, to charge them and to pay them for services which were provided to customers, and that should be done correctly. And so the dedicated team makes some calculations, and that everything is okay. So we went to my point. My point was, all these four teams are brilliant and great people, but they leave their own words. Despite all, they can use the same data, they can share same processes, they can conquer the same resources in terms of customers and partners and so on.
Right.
So my point was to create, which I called transparent, trustworthy framework for them, uh, to help them use the same data. For example, we will speak about that a bit later, I hope, just to create a data lake which can help them solve their problems better, and to reuse the same data, and to make their costs in terms of using data less, while having some robust approaches how to shorten their time to market of practices. So that was important. And uh, that was maybe the core role, to unveil synergies which can be used in these different teams. The second was to digitize their workflow, because there are a lot of email changes, there are a lot of uh, handwritten reports. So the point was to go to make it more transparent, and to use some sharing sharing tools like SharePoint, like I'm not sure, Jira, uh, BI, and Jira, and we combined it so you could make your flow in digital tool, and to make some plans to approve it, and then to see the statistics of what's going on without need of any paper and so on. So there were maybe two
Right.
main things, just to unveil synergy and to digitize workflow.
That's amazing. Now, I mean, I often have this question, whenever we talk about the telecom industry, like, I mean, from your point of view, I just wanted to understand, like, what are the types of backend technologies that you're using, or let's say the IT team is using to facilitate the process?
Do you mean exactly what vendors do we need, or what?
The backend technology, is it like Python? Is it like, low code, no code? Like, I mean, what goes on, with respect to that?
Uh, it depends. If you speak about some structural data, so SQL is okay, and we use SAS, and we use BI like Tableau, they made a great job that you do not need to code a lot, and
Yeah, yeah,
really the entry point is very low. But
truly.
sure, yes, Python is important if you want to make some complex calculations. We were more integrity in SAS by the moment, but yes, Python works also, and especially we started to work heavily on unstructured data, and that's where it really shows its potential. But
That's a
it's something common. We didn't invent something new, just the same tools which people use in Australia, in America, and everywhere else.
All right. That's pretty insightful, Artem. Now, Artem, you just mentioned about SQL. You just gave me a hint about that. So my next, my next question is going to be on that. So, Artem, I wanted to understand, like, would you like to, share your expertise or, give me an expertise? I mean, would you like to, provide your expertise on the lines of the SQL and analytical skills and the value that it provides to the business?
The value of SQL is evident because it's really like English language for people worldwide, for business world. When we sitting in different countries can speak the same language, so that's the same for SQL. Yes, there are problems with dialects because people can speak. Sometimes
Yeah,
you
yeah.
cannot understand them, and it's really painful when you, for example, write something for Hive and need to do that on Postgre, on Vertica, or someone else. But the common is that it is the same way to uh, it is the same logic of how you treat data and how you analyze it and how you create the pipeline of analytics. And it is quite understandable for everyone who is common to SQL. And it's really great because, you can open Stack Overflow. I don't know, maybe ChatGPT will kill that sometime, but you can open forum and you can read from people all over the world, and you just speak the same language. You have the problem, and uh, usually there is the answer, how it can be solved. There are maybe some technical details, but it's all can be solved. So the value, I think, is that when you mm, start as analyst, you just make some very, very little steps, and you maybe first is more technically focused how to write correct your code to get answers. But when you become more experienced, it's like driving a car. You start to think more globally about how to drive, where to drive, how to make it more efficient. And after that, you become more pro-business person, and that's really important because usually if you know SQL, you are the person who can connect the business person with the data which is created by this business, and to help this person to answer questions and to get more value. So it's really makes sense. uh, of course, SQL is not the only one, and speaking just one language, I think it's not an option now, and you need to know more. It's depending on your specialty, of course. And if you are a data scientist, sure, you should work for Python, for Java, or C, yes, no, languages like that. To be efficient and depending on what scenario and where do you use that. But SQL is really universal, and yes, there are very good mm, libraries in Python or in SQL, but they just they just repeat which you have already learned uh, working with traditional SQL bases.
Got it, Artem. Now, Artem, if I would just like to ask you this, like, can you just give me a live example, or let's say that you're part of a project or a client project. So I just wanted to understand, like, where exactly are you using the SQL performance, or let's say the analytical skills?
Every day.
Every day?
every day.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah, for example, by the moment we making some project management efficiency activities. We want to understand the time to market, where are the bottlenecks, how does it work, and SQL it's the language which help us to do that because we this is the tool how we generate data, how we make some statistics, and how we just build data marts and make some data for reporting. So it's really everywhere, starting from calculating how much money do you
Okay.
generate
Right.
until how many customers have you lost last week.
Okay. I get the point. Yeah. That's amazing. So now, I mean, like in your experience, like, I mean, what are the types of, let's say projects that you have worked? I mean, like, was it from the energy sector or was it from the public sector? Like, what type of projects were you part of, like in the past and let's say in the present?
uh, by the moment I'm responsible for for entire reporting in Russian posts. For sure, there are dedicated team who are more deep dived into details. So I'm more my role more is to exploit synergy, yes, and to make them not how to say to run away from each other. But and that means that you should be in details also depending on different line of business. So yes, but speaking about Russian Post, it's yes, it's logistics,
Okay.
it's retail, it's
Yeah.
finance. So I just mentioned it earlier.
Yeah.
Uh,
That's
but
amazing. So,
speaking about that, just when I was in MTS, telecom is really a data intensive business. We just compared it. Maybe the more intensive are uh, uh, exchanges and banks, but that's just because they're more transactional heavy. But if we're speaking about lines of business, really, telecom has very sophisticated value chain, and
yeah.
Russian Post really has very sophisticated value chain. If we're speaking in logistics in particular, so it's very interesting and. It really helps it, and it makes possible just when you think about other businesses in terms of value chains, they can be simpler. They can have maybe lots of data like Google, for example, but they're simpler in a way of uh, how much steps do you need to get value. There may be sophisticated steps, for example, if you make some profiling of your customers, and really big tech are very experienced in that, but uh, there are not so many steps. And uh, going through MTS and going through Russian Post, it's really the good opportunity because you can look at another businesses like energy you mentioned or something else, and it is not the starting from scratch. You can have the approach which can be delivered in any business really.
That's amazing to know, Artem. Now, Artem, I wanted to understand this from you. Like, what is your take on the corporate data warehouse renewal and let's say, the redesigning and the redeveloping of the C-level dashboards, which you have experienced in the first hand in your experience?
Oh yes, actually, I was a part of team of three people. We all were analysts from different domains, and we faced the obstacles of current technologies because we were pressed to answer some questions, and we could do that, but it took time and a lot of resources. And so, while there were opportunities how to boost the experience of our customers of business in terms of delivering analytics, And the point was, which we understood later, to create some sort of lambda architecture. When you have some streamlined data, when you have hot data, and you have a lot of cold data, which was very costly to to store by the moment, but that was the source of insights which were really needed. So the point was, we wrote some sorts of business requirements,
Hmm.
uh, uh, where we described scenarios, and how we can get more value from data which we need. But it was not enough, because we wanted to make it correctly. And after our interactions with IT guys, we understood that we need to deep dive into details. And we spoke with vendors who were by the moment in Russia, brilliant guys from top vendors like
Okay.
Oracle, Teradata, and others.
All right.
And during these discussions, we came to understanding what we really need, and how we can make this swap smoothly. Because it's really a challenge when you change technology. You need to rewrite a lot of code. Well, we had a lot of good code, and it will be really, how to say, not good to just to make it wasted. Uh, so we wrote technical requirements, and it was a very funny moment when we went to IT directors, that with the question that, we really need to renew our data warehouse. And they started traditionally that, we need to search the market just to understand how much it costs and so on. We know what is the market, and the cost is your point, of course, but we know that there are two, three top vendors who can help us, and they're really good in that. They were surprised a lot, but it really made possible for them to drive this process further. And we made this renewal, and worked closely with the team who implemented the new solution. But it was not the end of the story, because after we implemented the new solution, there were the army of analysts, and we created the sort of internal courses where we teach the people tricks how they can use new solution, how they can use their old scripts on new solutions, and to get results faster, and get more data as than usual. So yes, that was really great story. I'm very proud of that, because we really uh, it really made possible to answer some 2, 3, 4 year old questions, and it boosted analytics in within company.
That's amazing. So, I mean, Artem, coming back to your earlier point, I mean, a while back, you just mentioned, adding new scripts to the old data. Like, I just want an example on that. I mean, I just want to know more about, what does that exactly mean?
For example, we had some collection strategy, and it was run from on old resources, and it was very time consuming, and it was very limited in the quantity of customers which could be analyzed. And the point was that we didn't want to rebuild all this code entirely, but just to make some small change in that, according to the dialects in SQL.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, Yes, and we did that. Sometimes it was painful, of course, and we were ready for that. But the main logic which SQL gave us, we saved that, and we saved, I think, a lot of hours of developer, and we could smoothly migrate the process of calculation to another solution, and uh, just. We had a target that the collection, we should give more output from our procedures, and we saw that, and it really worked. So it was cool.
That's amazing. Uh, Artem, now, I mean, we just were talking about this point called the C-level dashboards and, redesigning that. So when you were creating the dashboards, I mean, you just gave me an earlier example that you were using Tableau. So did you ever try, I mean, did you ever think that you wanted you to use Power BI for the same?
Oh yeah, it was a tough it was a tough fight between Tableau and Power BI, and when we made a choice, we saw that all two vendors tried all their best and showed us new features just for latest releases. You know, there are trade-offs. I can't say that right now that I'm a Tableau fan or I'm a Power BI fan. They have their pros
Debatable.
and cons. Yes, maybe I'm more a Tableau fan than Power BI fan because of DAX. It's really a mess.
Yeah.
If you want to deep dive into details, but if you are entry level or middle level analyst, it's quite fine. It can help you to solve maybe most cases, but problem is that there are some very sophisticated cases, and if you're okay with DAX, if you have expertise and your company has expertise in that, that's okay. And even if you do not know DAX, it's not a problem because any language can be taught on you, or you can just call for right expertise from market. So yes, Power BI is okay. I think by the moment, if you spoke about vendors, Tableau and Microsoft, they're really great.
Okay, I mean, you were just having a tough time deciding between the vendors. Now, when we ask about the C-level team, like, what was their pick? Was it Tableau or Power BI? Like, what did they feel could be, best for the dashboards that could be created?
Uh, they wanted nice pictures which could explain their answers, and so it was not so very important which tool to use really. But when we started, we had both. Because we made for C-level, it was Tableau, but we had a strong finance analytic team, and they used Power BI because they were very highly integrated in that, and that's okay. So I do not think that having one size fits all solution is a working story. No, sure, if you have two or more solutions, is a headache for you as analyst and for maintenance team. But if you use this properly, I think it's okay.
That's amazing. Probably the end of the day, their point is that they want their work to be done. I mean, what dashboard you're using, they're not bothered. They're like, we want our work done. Anything is fine, but it has to just get done.
Yes, you can make it in Python. Really, when we had the choice between different BI vendors, we had guys who went and show us the dashboard built entirely in Python. That was really great, very cozy. But we wanted to make it easy to enter a tool while Python was not, and we asked what was the time market to change that on that on dashboard, because when you are in exploratory phase, and if you're speaking with C-level, it's always exploratory
Right.
phase. You do not have too much time to deliver changes, and there you should be very very proficient in Python just to save all these good frames
Yeah.
while on the backstage they could be entirely changing all the logic,
Right.
and it can be painful. Yes.
Absolutely. Absolutely, Artem. So now, Artem, I mean, now heading on to this one, like, Artem, would you like to, shed some spotlight on your mission towards, auditing these value chains with the help of data to create opportunities and also realize the tap potential? I know, like in our previous conversation, you were talking about the value chain and, about all the things. Now let's go a bit deep into that.
Thank you for this question, because usually when we're sitting on a companies, we're thinking about value chain in terms of money. Yes, then we use different resources to generate finances, which we can share with shareholders and reinvest it in company also. But my point is that it is quite useful to think about value chain a bit from a bit another perspective. You know that there is initiative in international uh, the Organization of Standards of International Finance reporting about six capitals. That the financial is one of them, but there are also five and others. The goods, the material capital, things which surround us, the intellectual capital, some know-how and some knowledge that we have. Human capital means people as they are, their health, their lifestyle. The social capital, how we upgrade the unevenness in societies. Some people who have low quality of life, and natural capital, the earth, the water, the fresh air, and everything else. So, and speaking about value chain. You speak that you not just exploit some abstract resources like workforce or uh, uh, some material resources, but you exploit something which has finite capacity, and you generate something. How is it marginal? Is it profitable in terms of all these capitals? Not so many companies think about that, and I'm very glad that there is a professional in Rotterdam Business School
Okay.
who promoting the approach to show in financial reporting this impact on workforce and on social impact and on ecological. Yes, he mentioned two additional points for social impact and natural impact, ecological impact, and it's really very important. And what I try to do my best when thinking about a value chain, about designing all this reporting, just to give the opportunity to to show or to highlight that there are not just some abstract values, but there are sort of some capital balances. And the point is that when we have starting point with all these balances before going things through the value chain, and we have some financial finance final balance of capital, and are they balanced? Is things work properly? So that is very important. I cannot say that it is highly implemented in financial world, but I think it's important to think about that.
That's amazing, Artem. Now, Artem, I mean, I'm pretty curious to ask you this question. Like, I mean, we see like there are different backend technologies in different parts of the world. I wanted to ask, is there any backend technology company that, Russia is like, using some Russian company that's using a different backend technology? Like, what can it be?
No, you know the political situation, and so we had to use different Russian solutions. And there are many of them, starting from storing data, making SQL engines, and even BI. We have a Russian-based solution. So yeah, there are. They are based on open source, but they develop by the time, and I think all teams make a great job. So yes, there are. They can be used, and we have to.
All right. So would you like to, name it for our listeners? Like, what are the names of those solutions?
It is, if you're speaking about storage, is Arena Data.
Mm-hmm.
It's a version of Postgre, I guess. If we're speaking about BI, it's LuxMS
Okay.
BI. Yes, maybe that's the point. SQL is SQL. So, and sure,
Yeah, yeah.
we use Hadoop.
Hadoop,
It's, I
right.
think, the legacy of the ROS.
Lot of interesting insights. I mean, through my different podcast sessions, Artem, I get to learn a lot of new things, and especially this is a new thing for me, which I've just
Mm.
especially you were just talking about RNT, right? Which is one of the things which you just pointed out.
Arena, yes, Arena Data, yes, it's a holding, and they have bundle of products like all other vendors, just storing data,
All
some
right.
managing data, and things like that. Even I guess artificial intelligence, they have something like that on the
Oh
box.
wow, that's pretty good. That's a revolutionizing thing in the IT industry for sure. Pretty good.
Yeah,
I think I would just love to just have a look at it probably in my spare time.
we have
That's a
no option just to deliver.
good, good. Right, yeah. That's how it is anyway. Yeah. So, Artem, before we actually, conclude our podcast session, let's take a lighter route. All this while, I was just, asking you questions about your IT journey, then about the technologies that you have used, about SQL, then about the C-level dashboards, about your tenure in Russian Post and MTS Group. Now we'll take a lighter route in the form of a rapid fire without anything technical, but talking about your likes and interests.
Okay,
All right. So the first question to you, Artem. So, Artem, what is your favorite sports team?
if you're speaking about soccer, it's CSK
Mhm.
Moscow. If we're speaking about hockey, Russian, it's CSK Moscow,
Okay.
and NHL, it's New Jersey Devils.
New Jersey Devils. Oh, okay. You follow the NHL as well, right?
Uh, it was long time ago, I think, but yes.
Okay. There's a coincidental thing here, Artem. I was actually in the US for some time and I was based in New Jersey. So there's a connect there.
Very funny.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And if I would just like to, ask you this question, like, who are those favorite players of yours? If I would just like to ask you from these three teams, from CSK Moscow football team, from the hockey team, and from the NHL team, who would they be?
Uh, from CSK Moscow, there are a lot of good guys, but maybe Wagner Love.
Hmm.
That was
Oh
Brazilian
wow,
striker.
he's
Yes,
a
and
terrific
he was
player,
one
man.
who, yes, he won a UFA Cup with CSK. It was Perhun Sergey. He was goalkeeper and he tragically died during the match, unfortunately. But it was on 90s and he was really brilliant goalkeeper. So it was really the loss for the team and for all who were connected with the team.
Okay,
And mm, and Ignashevich, Sergei
Ignacevich.
Ignashevich. Yeah, Ignashevich. He was defender and the captain of the CSK for a long time, and
Hmm.
very disciplined person in terms of sports. Yes, and it helped him to play for a long time.
All right.
Uh, Speaking about uh, hockey, mm, really, I'm not touched in hockey for a while, and I think it's Kovalchuk Ilya. He was in CSK, and there were a lot of Soviet players who were there. Fetisov, Larionov, I think them.
All right.
Yes. And speaking about any New Jersey, uh,
Yeah.
Martin Brodeur, he was great goalkeeper of New Jersey and Canada.
Okay.
Um, then we had Russian guy there, Sergei Nemchinov. He was in New Jersey,
Okay.
and Scott Niedermayer.
Nice. That's a pretty good list. I mean, amazing. Amazing. Good to know. Good to know. So, I mean, I'll ask you a simple question, Artem. Like, Artem, if you would like to, teach me Russian, or let's say start with one particular word, or let's say teach the listeners a Russian word, what would that be?
You know, there is one word. It's really challenging. Здравствуйте. Здравствуйте.
Rasmich. Okay.
Great, you made a great success. So you know Russian, I sure. Because you know we had some expats who went to our school. They were Americans, and they started with "Здравствуйте," and they looked like they were very proud pronouncing that. And it's really challenging because there are a lot of consonant vocals together, which was not in English and in many other languages, maybe in Hungarian or something like that. And it was not mentioned because usually people say, "Oh, he speaks so strange." It's
Okay.
not like we do that. Well, people do not understand that it's really challenging.
Yep. Yep.
But I think we can go a bit, if you know Здравствуйте. Interesting, interesting. I should think. I should think. I will reply offline.
Okay, no problem. No worries on that. I mean, as a trivia point of view, my grandfather, as I told you earlier, he went to he went to Russia in 1965. And like,
Mm,
as a part of, he worked for a company called IDPL. And I mean, a lot of people along with him and his batch, they went there and they stayed there for 9 months. So he used to know how to speak Russian, how to write Russian. So that was such a
mm.
fascinating thing for us back then.
Great, great, great. So you have good sources to.
Yeah, truly, truly. I mean, it is very interesting to know about. And yeah, a lot of things I've heard about. Yeah. And next question I'll ask you, if I ever visit Russia, what is that place, Artem, that you would like to, recommend me?
uh, if you speak about cities, I think there are three most interesting cities which are available to visit. Of course, of Moscow because I was born in Moscow and lived for Moscow a lot of time of my life. It's St. Petersburg. It's really beautiful. But maybe the best season to visit it is summer and autumn because on winter it can be chilly really. Some one day I visited it, it was minus 30, and I traveled by train, and the heater collapsed as a
Oh my
night.
God.
And when I yes, and when I went out to the station, I thought I will froze till death. But fortunately, we went to some cafe and it was okay. So it can be challenging really on winter.
I know.
And the third city is Kazan. It's really interesting, and you know, Moscow. It is the Moscow how it could be the Moscow maybe 20 years ago, because now you know Moscow is a big hub with people from all over the Russia and the world, and it's really
Mhm.
changing. I'm not sure that I'm happy with all of that, but it's life. And Kazan, it's not the capital, and they have the opportunity to live their own pace, and I like it really. It's the place where people enjoy life. And if you want to spend time with pleasure, that's great place where I can do
Yeah.
that. Nice food, good architecture, and they're very friendly.
That's interesting. I think Kazan, I remember this football team, Rubin Kazan.
Yeah, sure. They're hosted in Kazan.
Absolutely. Because, like, I mean, in 2009, I remember Rubin Kazan was there in the UEFA Champions League, and that's how I got to know
Yeah.
about them.
Yes, yes. Yeah, they have good food soccer team, and they have good hockey team also, Akbars.
Okay, that's interesting. Now asking about this, Artem, like, what is your favorite Indian food that you would like to, try all the time?
Food?
Indian food.
Indian food. Oh, I think it is chicken with curry.
Chicken with curry. Okay, that's pretty good. That's a pretty nice choice.
Yes, once we were in Bonn, and the friend of us advised us very cozy Hindi restaurant, and we went it and asked for a set for two. It was very huge. We could eat only one quarter, maybe one third of food. I really they changed courses, changed, and said no, sorry, we are full. You can take it with us. And the problem was that we departed other day early in the morning, and it was not an option to take all of this to the airport, especially in Germany. So we just gave that to them, and I think the entire family could be fed it. I hope someone could had good lunch.
Absolutely,
Yes.
absolutely. Someone's on your behalf. Someone would have a good meal for sure.
Yeah.
Awesome, awesome. Now, I mean, you just told me that you are completely from Moscow. So, since you're based out of Moscow, like, what is that best restaurant of Moscow that you would like to suggest me and our listeners?
Oh, it's a tough question. There are many, and the problem is that sometimes good restaurants are open, then are closed, and you have to change another one. I think I can give you an option of three of them, depending on what kind of cousin do you like. First one is Italian. It is oh, I forgot the name. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Okay, I'll give you another one. The another one is Mr. Lebanese. It
Okay,
is Lebanese cousin. Really very tasty. And you can go to uh, uh, I'm not sure how Maria. Yes, it is the restaurant of seafood.
okay,
Or they have options because they have fish restaurant and they have a meat restaurant. And the third one is Maurizio. It is
okay.
Italian cousin and it's really tasty. And he
Awesome,
has wines from Italy. I don't know how he exported by the moment, but it's
amazing. And
it's
for Indian, yeah, yeah, you were saying sorry.
yes, yeah, no.
Yeah, and for Indian food, what do you suggest? What is the restaurant that's best in Moscow?
I can't say there are many, uh, but there is, you know, I don't advise you a restaurant. I advise you the very interesting cultural center. Uh,
Okay,
if you can, oh, it is the second word for no in Russian at Novoslobodskaya station, where you can drink tea from India, and it's really very tasty.
okay, the black tea, which India is really famous for.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay, that's pretty good. That's pretty interesting to know. All right, then, Artem, it was such a great conversation having with you in this podcast session. So
Yes,
thank you so much for taking time from your busy schedule and being part of this initiative. It was really lovely conversing about your about your journey in the IT industry, then about your insights with respect to your company Russian Post and MTS Group, and your expertise on SQL. So I mean, since I am since I have my hands on SQL, so I really could connect a lot with that. So it was amazing, and that was such a great conversation. So thank you so much again, Artem.
thank you very much for inviting me. Yes, it was a pleasure to have a podcast with you. Yes,
Awesome, awesome, Artem. So, listeners, on this note, this is your host, Akhil Navluri, signing off. We would be back with another podcast episode with another eminent leader very soon. So, till then, keep listening. Stay tuned. Goodbye. Thank you. And take care. Au revoir. Thank you.